Hello everybody and welcome out to Field to Fork Homestead. This evening on the Homestead we're going to be making some supper. Today being Sunday, we've been out to church and we've come home, we've rested up, and we're going to make us a little bite of supper. This is just a typical day here on the Homestead, and we got going to do a variety of stuff here. We're going to do this evening, we're going to be having fried pork chops, sweet potatoes, and some fresh corn on the cob, or not corn on the cob, but cut off corn. And we're going to be making some cornbread. And we'll go ahead and get started. And I've got me a pot here, and I've got some fresh corn here. And I'm gonna be making a little more probably than what we eat tonight, but this is also going to be lunches this week. So, or tomorrow, definitely tomorrow. And you know, if you don't eat it all, you can have leftovers. We have leftovers in the evening when we come home from work, and we just tired, you know, and don't feel like cooking all the time. But we've got our corn in our pot, and to this, I'm gonna put some butter. Get my butter around here. So to this big pot of corn here, I'm going to add a stick of butter. And I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper in it. And this is just the way I do it. I don't measure nothing, I just guess at it. And, I don't know, I guess I'm just a good guesser. It always seems to work out, so. I got my garbage can sitting there, so. Let's see, I might need that again. I will here in a minute. Now I'm just going to put this on the stove and get it started cooking. Turn that up a little bit till it starts, and then I'll turn it down. So I got my other pot, and we're going to be doing some sweet potatoes. And these are sweet potatoes we put in the freezer. We put them in the freezer. Sometimes we can them. And these are already prepared, ready to go into the pot. Real good meal. And these ain't gonna take much at all to cook. So, put my hands here a little bit. Yeah, this towel. To these, I'm gonna add a stick of butter to these. I'm just gonna put just a little bit of water, just a little bit, enough to just coat the bottom of the kettle, because they're gonna make some water themselves. And these are ready to go on, and I'll add some sugar to these when they get started. I've got them on. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna turn them up till they get started, and then I'll turn them down. So now, let me get me a big mixing spoon over here, and we'll get the cornbread on. Now this is an old-fashioned way of making cornbread. This is how my grandpa made it. It always worked out wonderful. It's real good. Everybody brags on it. And it's simple. All it is equal parts of self-rising flour. And I try to use Hudson cream. I really like that flour. It does a real good job making dumplings, making biscuits, cornbread, you name it, that's what we use. And Martha White cornmeal. The white cornmeal, self-rising cornmeal. And here in the bowl I have equal parts self-rising flour and self-rising cornmeal. And all I'm going to do is just make this up with cold tap water.
So what we put in it is 1 cup flour, 1 cup cornmeal. If
Right.
you need a bigger batch, just put
equal parts. It don't matter how much you put. Make it as big as you want it, and or as little as you want. like I said, you know, this is just the way we do it. It turns out really good. And we're just gonna mix this up and make it. I'll show you what it looks like when I get it mixed up the way I want. Just add you a little bit of water at a time, you get it the way you want.
And if you get it too thin, stick you a little bit of flour in it.
Yeah.
Sticking it right back up.
But there we go. That's what it ought to look like when you get her mixed up. And I got my big skillet over here in the way. And now here I have my bread baking skillet. This is a cast iron skillet. And I'm gonna put that on the stove.
I think it's about a 9-inch, 8 or 9 inch.
Probably 10.
10? Okay.
I think it's 10 inch. Here I have my lard. And I'm just gonna put, I don't know, a good tablespoon probably in there. I'm gonna turn this on and let it get hot. Melt and put it in there. And I've got my oven preheated to 450 degrees. But anyway, what time that's getting hot and melting, I have drained this off again. Drained it once. Here's my big dish pan. Set my cornbread mix over here. Alright. This right here was butchered right here on the homestead. This is fresh pork chop that come out of the hog we killed back in the spring.
March.
And back in March. And this has been out of the freezer. And we double wrap our meat. We've never had none to freezer burn. And it's just as good as it was when we cut it fresh. It's this was not bought out of the store. This is fresh, home grown, and fresh cut pork chop. And if you get a little bit, if you got your cornbread here going, I think I got enough in my skillet. I'm just going to take what grease I got left. Put in for my pork chop. Got a little bit stuck on my spoon there. Come on, there we go. So I'll just set this aside for a minute. But anyway, that's my skillet for my pork chop. And I got my oil getting good and hot here for my cornbread. My corn's on, it's a boiling, so I'm gonna turn it down. Oh, about medium high. Sweet potatoes are going, we'll turn them down. You want this skillet to get hot, but you don't want it to start smoking on your cornbread. And it's a looking mighty fine, because lard will, let's see, how do I put this? Lard will, it has a lower smoking temperature than vegetable oil or canola oil. And you're just going to pour your cornbread right in that skillet by the time the stove's on good and hot. Kill the heat on the cornbread skillet. Right here is what she ought to look like before she goes in the oven. And you get a good glimpse of that. Now this is going to go in the oven on 450, and I'm just going to keep an eye on it. I don't have no certain time. Time varies. I'm just an old time cook, just the way my grandma taught me. And my grandpa, he's one. He really taught me on the cornbread. He he was a cornbread eater. He liked his cornbread and he liked his pinto beans. He taught me the way of the cornbread. So anyway, I have my pork chop here. Let me get my skillet on for my pork chop. We already got it here. I'll turn it on a little bit. Medium high. Use my spoon hole. But I had a little bit of leftover lard, but I like to use a little vegetable oil too. Put a good helping in the skillet. Now, I don't guess at it. I just coat the skillet good and put it up about a 1/4 inch in the skillet. And I got my pork chop here in my pan. And to my pork chop, what I'm going to do, I just got it out there, spread out and kind of in the pan. And I've got 10 pieces. And this, like I said, this is more than enough for me and her this evening. We'll have it tomorrow for lunch. And we snack on it. I like to come in and throw me one on a piece of light bread. And, there's an old saying, I like my pork chop on bread and milk out of a glass. And I like it like that. But anyway, we're going to solder a pork chop. We're just going to salt it regular table salt. Just give it a good little sprinkle. And some black pepper.
That lid's been messed up.
Yeah, it's kind of acted up there a little, ain't it? So I'll give it a little black pepper. Some people season their breading. Now, some people do pork chops different. We sometimes bread them, we sometimes fry them plain, and just season them. But tonight we're going to be having breaded pork chops.
Breaded with cornmeal.
Cornmeal. That's some people like flour, but if you ain't never had one breaded with just plain cornmeal, you don't know what you're missing. And we're just going to do this simple. Flour, black pepper, and here I have just a least little bit of meat tenderizer.
You mean salt, not flour?
Salt, I'm sorry.
Salt, pepper, and meat tenderizer.
Pepper's getting to me. We got salt, table salt, black pepper, and a little bit of meat tenderizer. Just a little bit. So all we're going to do is I've got my cornmeal here, plain white, Martha White, self-rising cornmeal. And we're just going to sprinkle these pork chops. And we're just going to toss these around in the pan, get them good and coated up. My hands are clean. We don't do no nasty cooking. And this is just the way my grandma made it. And boy, I tell you, they're good. Ain't nothing better than a big breaded pork chop. Tonight we're having sweet potatoes, but usually we have fried potatoes, and sometimes we have sauerkraut, but pinto beans. But you ain't in Eastern Kentucky if you ain't had you a good bowl of pinto beans and fried potatoes and a fried pork chop and a big piece of cornbread. But we'll do a video on that another day. But here I have my pork chop all breaded up. Let's give them a little second helping here. And I guess it's about, what, 2 cups of cornmeal?
Yeah.
To bread 10 pork chops. So, and we are meat eaters. We love our meat. It just ain't a meal if you ain't got a piece of meat with it. Whether it be steak, chicken, pork chop, lamb. Some people call it mutton. Deer, venison, same thing, but And every now and then we get lucky and we'll get us a piece of elk meat. If one of the hunters around here kill one, usually they give me a piece of elk meat, and we have that, and that's very rare, but we really like it. So anyway, I have my pork chops there all ready to go, and I just ended up my skillet. I got here to getting hot, and I probably won't be able to get all these in one skillet, but I'm gonna see what I can do with it. If I can't, I'll just have to fry 2 batches. So anyway, if you want to get me a little in here, I got this skillet getting hot. If it ain't all the way hot, it don't have to be red hot right off the bat, but you want it up there pretty good. It's pretty warm. That's right there is about right. These are some pretty big pork chops, so I'll probably have 2 skillets. Probably get about 4 in this big skillet. Got a little piece here I can get in there. So I got enough for another skillet full. I probably got enough for more than another skillet full, but I'll try to get one more in here if I can. Yeah, he fit right there perfect. So I got 5 in there, and I got 5 left, so that'll work out just right. A little bit of bone dish soap. And we got this good supper on, and we got her tuck off, and we're gonna let it cook just a few minutes here, and we'll get back with you here as it progresses and show you as it gets closer to getting done. So we're going to fry these pork chops up, and we'll get right back with you. So stick around with us. Alright, welcome back. I've had a lid on these pork chops here. I'm just going to set it off to the side. These babies are ready to turn over. Give me a pair of tongs here to turn these with.
God, how long has it been?
It's been about 5 to 6 minutes. The sweet potatoes down a little bit more. But there they are. We got them on good. Turn that around a little bit. Come down in the center a little bit. I'm just going to cover them back up. Got the cornbread coming along nice in the oven.
Ain't quite got the cornbread cracks on it yet.
Now I got me a bowl here for my pork chops when they get done. I got me a brown paper poke. Some people might call it a bag, or I don't know if you call it. Some people might call it a sack, but we call it a poke here in Eastern Kentucky, and it does a little bit better than paper towels. It kind of soaks up the grease a little bit better. So we got that ready for when they come out. And I'm gonna go ahead and sweeten these sweet potatoes up a little bit. Here I have this is just what I had, and I'd like to add just a tad more, but I got 3/4 cups of brown sugar, and I think I might have a little bit of white sugar, but this will be all right. That should be plenty. I'm just gonna go ahead and put these in my sweet potatoes and let it go ahead and cook in them. And got my corn going. Corn's coming along real good. Gonna be the finest supper you ever eat. And we'll get back with you in a minute as she gets a little closer to getting ready to eat. Stick around with us. You all right? All right, everybody. Welcome back. Got this first batch of pork chops done. They're ready to come out of the skillet. And we're going to get the second batch on. And it's been about, I don't know, it's been about 18 to 20 minutes, I guess. Just a guessing. That part right there is the best. That bread off the bottom of that skillet, oh man, that's my favorite part. Yeah, man, it's gonna be some good eating right there. You know, get up close to them, you can. I got my second batch of pork chops. I'm gonna go right back to the same skillet.
Be careful and don't get popped, because that grease is hot.
Grease is hot. And we're going to put the lid back on them, and the cornbread's just about ready to come out of the oven. Won't be long, supper will be done. Sweet potatoes is coming along nice, cooking down. And if you want those sweet potatoes to hold their composure, to hold their form, these yours cooked up a little bit and maybe falling apart just a little bit, but that's all right. They're gonna be just as good. But they've been in the freezer. We've blanched them down, put them in the freezer. But right out of the garden, you can't beat them. They kind of hold their form a little bit better. And we like them baked, butter and brown sugar on them. But this right here, this is just as good. It's really better. And this cornbread it's brown enough for me. It's the way I like it. So if you want your cornbread a little bit darker on top, you can get it as dark as light as you want it. But it's ready to come out. It's done.
Or if you do like me and you forget that it's on broil, it gets real dark.
Right. I don't like mine all that brown, but it's ready. And we'll go ahead and do a cutting on this. Let me get me a plate.
I call those the cornbread cracks. That's when you know they're just about done.
I tell you, the best way I like cornbread take you a little bit of this butter spray.
Spray butter.
Yeah, spray butter. But now, this is all right, but this is I can't believe it's not butter spray. But now I like the good old-fashioned cow butter, if you can come up with it. I did have some, but I ran out. But I like this butter spray awful good. It's all right, but it ain't like a good fresh cow butter. We're gonna cut this here and give it a little squirt and try it out. And that's hot. That's right out of the oven hot. And I usually like to cut it in a triangle and just split it like that and kind of make a little bit of a little really small piece, you know, you can pick it up pretty easy. I like giving it a good helping squirt of butter. Some people might be worried about me putting a lot of butter on my bread. But the more butter it is, the better. And I'd say it's not really all that healthy, but it's good. But I've been eating it like this. My grandpa ate it like that, and my grandma ate it like that. And they lived a ripe old age, and I'm gonna do the same thing. If I die from it, I'm all right anyway. So. That skillet's good and hot on that pork chop. But what am I saying there as far as the butter goes and the using the lard and I guess, I don't know. I was always told canola oil was the best for you, but I guess when you really get thinking about it, ain't none of it really good for you. But it's just what we like and how we do it. Anyway, I got that cornbread. I'm gonna do a little taste tester on that cornbread.
So we got everything done?
Wait. Huh?
Have we got everything done and ready to eat?
Be just a minute on the sweet potatoes, but yeah, we're just about ready to eat here. Got supper ready to go, and I guess I could wait. I'll just fix up a little plate here and show you what kind of meal that I'm gonna get that little small pork chop there. I really like the way he looks. So I've got my pork chop, my cornbread, and my corn's done. You want to get a picture of that. And this is ambrosia corn out of the garden this year. So I'm going to put that right there next to my cornbread. I think the sweet potatoes are just about ready to go. And that second batch of pork chops, that'll take those a few minutes, but we got the rest of it done here, so anyway. Yeah, them sweet potatoes they're ready to go. So I'm gonna get one out here and I'll fix up a little plate here and show you what kind of supper we're gonna have. I'm gonna get me out 2. Them little babies. I'll maybe get 3. That one's awful small. So there you have it. Our supper for the evening here on the homestead. I hope you all would enjoy this video and these recipes just as well as we have. And come back and visit us here on the homestead. We're going to sit down here and have supper. And, we're going to ask blessing over the food. And come back and be with us next time here at Field of Fork Homestead. We sure enjoyed having you with us. And have a good night.